Today we invited 300 young people along to this conference because we felt it was really important that young people get to have their say about what's going to happen in Copenhagen.
A large percentage of the audience are very young children, and they are being educated as to how to save energy. And one of the most popular ways of saving energy is, instead of using fuel consuming transport, is to ride a bike.
So Geraint, what have you been doing in eco schools to encourage alternative transport?
Well, there's loads of things we've been doing. Firstly, about a term ago, we had our no car day, so however you came to school, it wouldn't be allowed in cars. But another thing I think the school of Canning are doing is running a school bus, so it'll reduce how many cars on the road. So all the people in a certain area can go onto the bus and travel to school without using so many cars to do it.
This is the graffiti wall, which has got quite a few ideas on that. It's being taken to Copenhagen. It's got stuff like saving the rainforest and more eco clubs and recycling plastic bags, reusing plastic bags. Other stuff like should have more recycling centres. And it's just basically a really big wall which everyone's written suggestions on. And it's actually quite full as well, which is good. That should help. You've also got like personal comments in a way, like save the world or risk killing it, save the world and make it a better place. So it was a really good idea, and I think everybody's at least put one comment on it. So yeah, I think this was really successful. Went really well.
Hello, I'm Lindsay Jewett. I'm Lucy Dixon, and today we're here at Swansea Climate Change Conference. Just how eco-friendly is this conference? We've been in this room for nearly an hour. Everyone's left the room, but yet the lights, the computer, the projector and the speakers have all been left on. Surely that's not eco-friendly. Now we're going to take you around the place to see what's going on. These guys have left, so why are the lights still on? Surely there should be sensors for when people aren't around. Surely it's wasting electricity. It's really not eco-friendly. If there's sensors to open and close a door when you go through a door, then why aren't there sensors to... You get motion sensors, why can't you have motion sensors to detect when someone's left a room? You've seen the waste energy that's in this building, the lights being left on when people aren't in the room. What do you think are the strategies that could combat waste energy in the country overall?
Well, I think that certainly in a situation like this, people have to stop making excuses. We're all sat here probably able to say we don't know where the light switches are and it's someone else's responsibility. There's a window open there, and I think this room is probably air conditioned, so that's not helping the situation either. So number one, we have to reduce energy consumption, but secondly, we were talking earlier in the debates about renewable energies, wind power, tidal power, and one of the speakers put forward the fact that there are other arguments and people don't like the visual pollution. Well, if we're actually going to tackle climate change, people need to make much more brave decisions nowadays and actually make a decision about the Severn Estuary, for example. There are always going to be negative impacts as well, but unless we actually take these big steps, we're actually not going to achieve anything.
I get quite annoyed about it when people are saying like wind farms are horrible, because number one, the view isn't like that bad compared to like having a town expanding or like a big power plant. It's alright. And when they say that like people get hypnotised by them when they're on the roads and crashing into things, which I find ridiculous, and like birds getting chopped in half, and I don't think this ever happens really.
The government should start mass producing like electric cars, because you know it takes like what, a half an hour to charge them, and you can charge them overnight and stuff. And plus, you know, they don't use carbon dioxide or anything.
Hello there, my name's Charlene, and a big issue that I want to bring up is plastic bags. They ask us to recycle and reuse our plastic bags, So when they make the bags for life, like more like people so they can use them and make them free of charge, for example.
I think one of the things that makes me pretty lucky is that I've spent so much time in the Arctic, and most people aren't ever going to get a chance to visit, particularly very far north of the Arctic. So I've got a pretty unique perspective on what's going on, and events like today give me the chance to actually come back and tell people, I'm not a scientist, I'm not an expert on why it's happening, but I have seen it happening, and most people will never see that.
So in terms of the ice caps melting, do you actually notice any change from like 2001?
Yeah, huge change. In 2001, on this first expedition with Penn, we started from the north coast of Russia, and it's a sort of chain of islands, and we literally landed by helicopter on the northernmost island, and then walked off, because the North Pole's in the middle of the sea, so you're walking over the frozen surface of the sea to get there. And in 2001, we were able to walk literally from the land onto the sea at the beginning of March. It's completely frozen. And at the same point, in 2004, 3 years later, there was 30 miles of water, open water, before we actually got to the ice. So we had to fly over this open water. So huge change, and it's getting worse every year.
Who do you blame for it?
Who do I blame? I don't really blame anyone in particular. I think that there are lots of different things going on. I certainly don't think that any of us are living sustainably at the moment. We're all using resources pretty recklessly. So I think it's a sort of collective responsibility.
I've enjoyed the day very much, the countdown to Copenhagen. I've learned many things about the event, what its aims are. I've also learned many things about the environment and what we need to do to help it, and especially enjoyed the film that we watched. I think that all the speakers were very good and of the quality.